Okay, it's 1:30. I'll make sure everybody can hear me here. Okay, we go. Okay, time now is 1:31. I'll call the September 10th, 2025 STRGBA GSA meeting to order. We have a quorum here in the room. So starting at the end there, we've got Mike Pitcock from the city of Waterford. Next to him, we've got Jeff Roberts, city of Oakdale. Next to him, we've got Darren Smallin from the city of Riverbank. And Christy McKinnon from Stanislaus County. To my left is Jesse Franco from MID. To my right is Timothy Barahona from City of Modesto, and I am Eric Thorburn from Oakdale Irrigation District. Moving right into item number 2, business from the public. At this time, interested persons are welcome to introduce any topic within the GSA's jurisdiction. Matters presented under this heading may be discussed, but no action will be taken by the GSA at this meeting. It's not required, but speakers may provide their name and address for the record. Public comments will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. We'll start with those in the room. Any public comment in the room? Anything that's not on the agenda? Would you mind grabbing the mic or step it up either way, whatever you're more comfortable with, and then you got to push the button to have it go on if you
don't mind. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Alexandra DeWorte. Like just following up on a couple of meetings ago, the workshop, getting EKI in contact with the consultant. I know we had issues with travel and all sorts of things. So are we going to be able to get a date together to finish that meeting?
We'll talk more. We've got some comments, so we can talk more offline.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other public comment in the room on anything that's not on the agenda? Items not on the agenda. Okay, online I have Ethan Andrews. Ethan?
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
There we go. Now we can hear you. Yes.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ethan Andrews with Provo and Pritchard, and thank you again for all the work you all have been doing to keep the subbasin on track. Today, I'd like to comment on the proposed groundwater allocation framework discussed back in July. And this past weekend, while I was moving out of a rental property, I thought of this perfect metaphor to describe where we're at. And, when I was moving out of that property, sometimes the house may feel a little cluttered before it can get organized again. And, some people prepare weeks in advance and process goes smoothly during that move, while others, like me, wait until moving day and the same task feels 10 times harder. And I think that's what we've been seeing here, that 3 of the 4 management areas have been planning and investing in groundwater sustainability since and before 2014 and during STRGBA implementation by investing in surface water infrastructure and recharge, while one management area has done very little to or since 2014. And the areas that prepared for sustainability shouldn't be penalized, and the slower movers should bear the greater burden. This is really an opportunity to invest in projects similar to the other management areas. And just like in real life, if you leave a rental messy, you pay a cleaning fee. Hopefully I cleaned it well enough that there is no cleaning fee, but here in talking about the framework, that means fines and more strict measures for those who haven't prepared for STRGBA. And one tool, just as a suggestion that would bring needed clarity to these discussions, is to show the sustainable yield by management area, and as well as showing the exceedances, as we continue to implement our GSP of water levels and water quality by management area as well. And that transparency would make it clear who has managed responsibly and who may have added to the clutter, and to get this house or sub-basin organized. And we need both accountability, transparency, and really clear communication. And communication is going to be key here. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. Got one more hand up. I just see FWP screen here. You're muted currently.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Julia Berry. FWP stands for the name of my company, First Water Partners. I wasn't intending to comment today, but wanted to let everyone know this is not why I'm commenting, but I'm speaking on behalf of the landowners in the non-District East area. I no longer represent the Mutual Water Company. However, I do represent two large landowners in the eastern side of the sub-basin, and I have to comment on Ethan's most recent comments. And what I would like to remind the group and those in the audience is that the eastern portion of the sub-basin is represented by the county. The county has never been historically involved in the purchase of water, the construction of water infrastructure, nor has it been engaged in groundwater. Now, I understand that this SGMA process has been going on since 2016. However, the county was not set up the same way that the other management areas may have been. Now, the westerly portion of the sub-basin, yes, is also represented by the county. However, there's ample water supply there. In fact, in some areas, too much water supply, as we all know. So I think it is unfair to paint a broad brush and to say that all of the landowners in the non-District East have not done anything. That is not true. Those who have the opportunity to participate in the 10-year OID out-of-district transfer program are doing so and have constructed the infrastructure and spent millions of dollars to do so. Additionally, my clients are in the process of working through the GRP process, the long-term GRP program, the 20-year program with MID to build infrastructure and to receive that water. As we all know, it takes time to get permitting and construction and all of these things together. So I think it's very unfair to characterize all of the growers in the eastern portion as those who have done nothing. It's not fair, it's not true, and I'm not gonna let that comment stand. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep. You don't mind stating your name for the record?
Anthony Rado with Rado Brother. I'm curious in understanding a little bit more in timelines, and I was wondering if that's going to come up later in relation to some of the working group periodic evaluations and stuff, or if I should make the comments right now.
Are you talking about like the workshops, or are you talking about the inter?
Well, I think so. The workshops haven't really been set; they've been talked about. So it'd be nice to get dates on people's calendars. One comment.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in the next.
Okay. The periodic evaluation.
Item 4. Sorry.
Wait, come up.
Item 4, we'll talk about the workshop stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
The periodic evaluation is due January 2027. Do the respective agencies understand exactly what that timeline is? Because I assume that the evaluation or updates have to go get approved by the member agencies, right? And then
Yes, the GSA.
yeah,
Yep.
or is
And-
it going to be approved here only? I guess.
It typically is both.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a subject of conversation yesterday at the MID meeting. That's why I bring it up. And then post the periodic evaluation that's due in January, is the periodic evaluation? I know that you have mandatory, you have to do 5 years, but can you do if everything isn't set in stone or able to be ratified or voted approved on this January? Are there further opportunities potentially next year where you can continuously update your reporting? So thank you.
Every time you do that, it's pretty expensive.
Okay.
Just for clarification, the periodic review and GSP update or amendment revision. We talked about that last meeting. It was actually a presentation that was provided under director's comments. And so we had a whole schedule laid out for that. The due date for that is actually January 2027, so a year from this coming January. And we're going to start work on that here pretty soon. We're starting to, the consultant will be asking for data from all of the member agencies to start getting that stuff together and that effort going. Hopefully that helps. Okay, anybody else from the public? Items not on the agenda? All right. Okay, item number 3. Item number 3 are the meeting minutes from August 13th, 2025. Assuming everybody's had a chance to look at those, I will entertain a motion.
Motion approved. Second.
Second by Darren. Member comments, questions on the minutes? Or agencies? Nope. Okay, I'll open it up to the public for comments on the August 13th meeting minutes. Seeing none in the room? Any online? Seeing none, we do a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, item number 4. This is the well mitigation program and management actions contract amendment. So last meeting, we had the budget on the last agenda. We talked a little bit about this. The original budget was around $250,000, $240,000 was actually the contract amount. We bumped that up and increased it to $350,000 and then decreased some other areas to make sure that the original draft budget that was proposed the previous month didn't change overall. So for the rest of the year, we anticipate closing out around $350,000. If you look at this contract, there are some optional tasks and some fees proposed for what we currently, the current work effort, and to close that out by January, which is the deadline that we committed to in the resolutions that when we submitted our revised GSP in July of 2024. Yep. 2 GSPs, 2 different basins. So anyhow, to finish that effort out by this coming January, we've gone over budget and we need to increase that budget and amend it by $100,000 to finish that out. A reason being is if you recall, we originally anticipated forming a working group. There's a lot of back and forth on that. So we ended up deciding to have workshops, and ultimately the first workshop wasn't a board workshop. Then we converted them to board workshops. We've had more workshops than what we anticipated. We've had more committee meetings than we had anticipated. So we've got 2 more workshops planned, one for finishing out the draft and getting comments on the draft well mitigation program, and then also another for getting public comments on the formalized groundwater use management program for the management actions. So this proposal reflects that. It also reflects some other optional tasks. There in the original contract, we had contemplated a groundwater dashboard, and then also potentially remote metering and open ET analysis. If we still want to discuss that and see if it's worthwhile moving forward with either of those tasks. Also, we had discussed quarterly updates to the GSA so that we can have a presentation that we could all go back to our boards and councils with to keep them up to speed. So that's optional task 5.3. Then also just as needed technical support or outreach support 5.4. I think 5.3 and 5.4 we likely want to go forward with. Right now, I'm asking what we would be proposing is to approve the entire work release with the optional tasks, with the understanding that we would discuss further on some of those optional tasks we wanted to move forward. So the total amount is $222,377 with the optional tasks included. Again, that's accounted for in the budget that we approved last meeting. Questions on that from the member agencies? Yes.
Just
Christy.
so I understand, so did we go over the original 200,000 that we initially,
240.
okay, so we're at 240?
Yep.
Okay,
We're right under 240, so we're right there.
but we're still within the budget that we pushed over and approved.
Last meeting, correct, because we bumped that up to 350 last year. Yep.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, you're recommending that we amend the budget by 222,000, with the understanding that we're not committing to 5.1, 5.2 at this point in time. Come back or later to discuss those, so that could come back to the correct.
Yeah, so last meeting we did the budget amendment essentially,
Right.
and approval of the 2026 budget. Those numbers are reflected here.
Okay.
This is just approval of the work release. Yeah. And you're correct, in 5.1, 5.2, we would come back and discuss that. Anything else? Okay. Questions, comments on the contract amendment from the public? Item number 4. Got it. All right, going online. Jared?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jareen from UC Cooperative Extension. So this is actually a question. I just heard about budget estimation on evapotranspiration estimator and metering, if I'm not wrong. So are those approaches decided yet, or you're still discussing on those things, like how you're going to estimate evapotranspiration and what are the standards of flow meters, etc.?
This is budget to have that discussion.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Anyone else in the room? All right, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Tim. Jeff? Any other further comments from the member agencies? Okay. We'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, our next GSA meeting, under item number 5, is October 8th, scheduled for October 8th. It'll be here at Oakdale Irrigation District in person and at 1:30, and also available to be attended over Zoom. Questions, comments on that? Any from the public? Moving right along. Item number 6 is committee comments and reports. I'll just start off real quick. So we've got a working draft of the well mitigation program, and also an agreement with SHE that we have provided to SHE. So SHE is Self-Help Enterprises. We've talked about contracting with them to help facilitate and administer the well mitigation program. So we've received comments back from them at the end of last week. The committee is going to review those, work with the consultant to address some of those comments, concerns before releasing a public draft and coming back to a workshop where we can all attend and integrate our comments and receive further feedback. So that's upcoming. We don't have an exact date. I will say that in the plan here in our amendment, there are some dates in here that are tentative as far as workshop dates. We didn't want to do a workshop in the middle of October or in the middle of September rather, because it's the heart of the harvest season. So we tentatively have in here, I believe, an October date. It's not right in front of me here. Take an October date for workshop number 5. and November roughly for workshop number 4, and then workshop number 5 being around November. Workshop 4 would be when we discuss the well mitigation program draft. Workshop number 5, so that's going to be focused on, it's proposed to be focused on the groundwater use and management program. We've got a working draft right now that we're getting comments and feedback from the committee on, and we're going to get that back to the consultant next week for further discussion. So still working through that. So those are committee reports. Anybody else have anything to report?
Not so much to report, but just a clarification. As Mr. Ratto indicated yesterday, we provided an update to MID Board of Directors regarding the well mitigation plan and the groundwater allocation. I think a lot of the questions that came up specifically revolved around schedule. And so I think just a point of clarification is that both programs are intended to be submitted to DWR by January of 2026, but the actual management actions we have till 2027 to implement. Is that correct?
Yeah, so draft and implementation of the well mitigation plan, January 2026. Draft of the management actions by January 2026, implementation by 2027. Yep. And we're not necessarily submitting those to DWR, but we are giving them updates in the annual reports, and we'll report back to them in the GSP.
Which I think starts to beg the question. So now we've got 2027, we have to move backwards to figure out when we have to get all the associated documents to either if the county has to accept take it to their respective board of supervisors, council for the city of Modesto, city of Waterford, city of Riverbank, city of Oakdale. So we just want to make sure we have sufficient time. I think that was the big concern that was expressed through our directors, is make sure we have enough time for all agencies to get this, I think, approved and adopted.
Is there still a 90-day comment period?
There's no requirement for those. That's for the GSP.
Well, that I guess I thought that's what we were talking about.
No, he's talking about, I think you're talking about the actual the commitments we made in the resolution. So
Right.
the well mitigation plan and also the management action. Anything else? Thanks, Jesse. Yep.
I don't know if I heard a date for workshop 4 and workshop.
We don't have an exact
Do
date.
we have any tentative dates? I mean, in November, December, you're into the holidays.
Yeah, we're shooting for October sometime and for workshop 4,
Okay.
and November for workshop 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any thought on getting the draft out to the public, since the timeline is compressed to either be there or not, to the actual workshop, to be able to get drafts out with more timeliness or the best possible, so people have ample time to review and comment?
Yeah, the discussion of the committee has been that we really want to get them out at least 2 weeks before the workshop.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, at 1:54, we will adjourn. Thank you very much.
All the way.